Welcome back to another episode of How Sales Changed My Life, and I'm your host, Zion Asunda, and I'm here with,
Zay Hollums.
and we back again for episode 2 of How Sales Changed My Life. Hopefully you enjoyed that last episode that we put together for you, just kind of recapping our journey and of the lessons to be taken from it. But today we got something different for us, Zay. This one's going to be called How Sales Made Us Into Men. I kicked off the last one. You can kick this one off if you want to, or you can just let me take it. How you feeling? I can throw it alley-oop.
Yeah, so how sales changes into men. We went from podcast to wanting to know how to hunt, wanting to know how to create our own opportunity. And what sales really taught us is nobody's going to give you nothing. You got to actually walk through that door and ask for it and take it. But consequently, it taught us delayed gratification, like planting that seed, following up, showing up every day, but also more importantly on how to eat the elephant. You got big goals, you got big aspirations, you want to make the copious amount of money, but how can you make those things if you're not willing to do the due diligence that's going to get you there? And eating the elephant is eating it piece by piece. You can't go after one thing at once because you're gonna stuff yourself too full, or you can't bulldoze. You can't bulldoze through everything fast, or you gonna miss your exit. Like you really gotta sit there and tell like yourself that God works in the moment. He does not delay. But the delay part is never delayed because you're tapping into God's speed, and tapping into God's speed is when you're moving based on your own frequency and you're moving at your own pace. And everybody's pace is different. Like everybody's speed is different. So what I'm saying is, what sales did, it taught us on how to really put ourselves into the perspective on what folks want and what we're willing to give them to help solve their problems. Everybody has a problem that needs to be solved, but what is your solution, and is your product and is your thing valuable in like the marketplace? But you're taking that product, you're taking that piece and you're learning about it, but then you refurbishing it into your own personal brand and you offering it like to somebody. It took like for me to realize that it's not even about me. It's about what I'm willing to give like to people, but be a servant leader. And being a servant leader is eating last, but leading at the same time. So I really had to cut down my ego, get out my own head, and really just be still in the moment. But I had to believe in myself, like
Yeah.
say stuff with conviction, like say it with your chest, as like we would say. But at the same time, when you saying it with your chest, when you speaking, also say what you mean and mean like just what you say, and have like integrity. Because what sales truly does do, it makes you look in the mirror and say who I am. Am I like who I say I am, and am I a man of my word? Because how can you be a man of your word and you're trying to sell and you're trying to do business? But doing business, it also shows you that you got to have a sense of discernment. And like this wise dude I once said, like your spirit is a mirror. So your spirit sees people and see things before the common eye see. And that's why some people don't like the fact that you got discernment. So you gotta go by your gut feeling. If you got a gut feeling, stick by that. Don't just go by your eyes. Read the room. It teaches you all these layers on how to be a man, but you're trying to cut through things and solve a problem, asking questions, asking open-ended questions, diagnosing with people with the problem, but also giving them the solution to their problems. Like it really shows you all these things, but it all comes down to what am I willing to give. So that's how sales kind of really changed like my life in like a sense where from having a speech impediment, thinking that I had a speech impediment, but the whole time I just had to go out here and do some repetition, actually go out here and practice the way I talk and how I present myself, but being calm in a state of virtue.
Yeah. So let's look at it from if it were lessons you took from their transition, right? What came to mind when I was thinking on this week came down to sales helps you develop your confidence, your discipline, your communication, and your resilience. So if we start one on the self confidence piece, of well, let's start on discipline because without discipline, it's hard to be confident. Boom. So when you start a new endeavor, let's say a sales job, specifically, right?
Right.
You can show up to that sales job undisciplined, but at a certain point, it's going to show in something you have to do, depending on if someone asks you to do something and you don't do it. Do you show up on time? Are you consistent in your efforts? Did you cut a corner somewhere? Like somewhere, yo, your lack of discipline is gonna show up. So let's start there. I always felt like I was a fairly disciplined individual. Like I checked the basics, but say for someone who's not disciplined, or you had to grow into that person, because I ain't calling you out, but at some point there was a different version of Zay before he started doing sales, and the discipline really went from a certain place here to a certain place there. Let's start there.
Yeah.
What did that? Let's talk about discipline.
Man, where that started at is when I felt like I was doing it for nothing, but the whole time I was doing it for everything that I wanted. But how can I get anything and everything that I want, but I can't really I can't kill the failure mechanism, but so I can really get to the success mechanism. So I know what the failure mechanism is, all the undisciplined acts, all the things that I'm saying I'm going to do, but I don't do it. Okay, cool. If I'm looking at success and what I want, what do I have to do? I gotta show up early every day. I gotta get with somebody that's better than me in a room and actually learn them and watch their characteristics and watch their movements. Like I was reading this book by Napoleon Hill on what would he do. He said something called neuro-linguistic programming. When you look at someone that is successful and you look at their characteristics from in and out on what they're doing to what have got them there, bro, you're looking at them, you around them, you're going to intrinsically be them. So when I started sales and what I wanted to be disciplined, I got with one of the best people in the room, and I learned from him in and out, the best way I could. But then at the same time, like I just knew that once I really got around that person and when I refurbished it, then I could be disciplined. But the whole time is too, like being disciplined takes time. I still have my days when I don't show up because that's when I allow distractions to come in like my life, and I'm not focused. You got to cut out every distraction, every external force that ain't serving you. Because the things that's not serving you, you got to kill it. Feed what you want to live and starve on what you want to die. So if you want to feed the dream and feed the desire, then that's when the things that you got to see on what's going to feed it so it can grow. But other than that, you got to kill it and starve to die.
And with me, like the discipline came down to the little things that allowed me to gain momentum in my life. Because when you don't check the boxes for the little things, they start to compound and they can become big things. And then the big things are what you feel and what might seem to have the most impact. But then when you really analyze and you get it down on a microscopic level, it's the little things that could have prevented it. So I realized if I don't do certain things, I start to feel certain ways, and I start to have certain thoughts and do certain actions that might not be towards the thing that I truly want. And then you call it the failure mechanism, but I call it a negative feedback loop. Simply meaning like you doing actions and you getting outcomes that you don't necessarily want, and you know you don't want them, but you stuck in the loop of doing those actions, so you keep getting the same outcomes.
Right.
Boom. So discipline comes into this to where you fix your mind on a certain outcome and goal that you want, and you actively use your conscious thought and brain to break that negative feedback loop so you don't keep getting the same results that you know you don't want. So if I know, like, I have my best mornings and I book the most meetings. When I wake up early, I make up my bed, I hit the gym, I might smoke a joint and drink me some coffee. That's my formula. That's my
your routine.
That's my routine, but those are my disciplines. When I write, when I listen to something good, when I get inspired before I start working, those are the disciplines that help me perform at my peak level, reach my flow state. But if I didn't show up like that, my day has a totally different trajectory.
That
And
makes
that's
sense.
when I harped on discipline. Like, it be the little things that allow you to get your momentum to show up, say to your sales job or to whatever job you might have, that allow you to perform at optimal performance to get the results that you want to get. But discipline was just the first thing. I don't even want to take up all the time on that. The next thing was confidence, because after I start showing up a certain way, a certain amount of time consistently, I start to get, what's the word I want to use? Undeniable results. In sales, if I start cold calling and I suck in the beginning, but then I start doing it so much that I actually get good and I start booking meetings and the dopamine hits that come with booking that meetings,
Oh yeah.
that's when the
And that
momentum
thrill.
started to take place. And it's a feeling for you that you knowing that, okay, I got results now. Like, these me's not booking themselves. Like, these people, I'm calling these people out the blue. I'm trying to make transactions happen based on the value I'm proposing on these phones. But I done did this so many times, I done got good at it. So the fact that I'm booking so many meetings at this point, it mean I gotta be good. It mean I am who I think I am. A little bit at least. The numbers ain't lying.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm gonna check the discipline box because I know how to show up. I know what I need to do. And then the confidence comes. Cause it's like, I'll listen to this song and it was like this white stock guy. He was like, how long did it take you to realize you were good at this? He was like, believe it or not, it took a while. It's like, okay, it took a while. I see the results now. I got undeniable results through the discipline to put in and delayed gratification. So with that comes a level of momentum that allows you to act in a flow state or offensive state.
Yeah.
Because momentum and I'm gonna say gravity is on my side because I done picked up speed now. And at that point, you become more audacious in your will and your thoughts to do and try different things and set loftier goals.
Bro.
This is where sales allows you to think bigger in a way when you realize you can make money for a company. Let's use that example. If I know I just made $500,000 the first 2 quarters, the last 3 quarters for a company, I can't help but think to myself, like, what happened when I'm the $1 million kid? And then 10% of $1 million is 100,000. So if I can make $1 million for the company, I should at least be able to make 100,000 on the side for myself.
Exactly.
And I start thinking like that, and then the goals just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. I mean, like, just visualizing you are seeing on what you had, but like the success in, and then you are know the feeling on what it's like to make a call, on what it's like to close a deal. You know the feeling on what it's like to book a appointment.
Right.
So as long as you got that feeling, you already know your power. That's what I had to realize too. Like, what is my power? Like, I know that when I was closing deals or meeting people, dang, you just a smooth talker. Really? Because because I feel like I be stuttering. Nah, you a smooth operator. Like, you smooth with like your words. No way, I am that. So when I just started to embody that feeling, I started to have more of a success mechanism because I knew that that's my power. The way I carry myself, like the way I wordplay, but also having that feeling of success, but having that feeling of the success, like you talked about, showing up, even when you feel like you suck, but all you need is one win. All you need is one lucky day.
Right.
One lucky day gonna be your day. And when it's your day, I listen to the song by G Herbo. He be like, it's something in me. Because it's something in you, and you know that power in you, but when you bring out that dog in you, because a lot of times we think that we gotta face the dragon, but all like we gotta do is reach out our hand and pet it, because the dragon is us. Man, the dragon is us, man. We is blowing out fire. We is flying through the sky.
Right.
We is dominating. We is
right. You hit that offensive. You hit that momentum. Gravity on your side.
Yeah.
And then it was two more points I want to hit.
Yeah.
It was communication, but I'm gonna leave that to last.
Right.
Resilience. Because at that point, through the confidence and the things you've been through in the struggle of delaying gratification and going through that transition, and like in our last episode, that wilderness of you come to a point where you realize, like, I am strong, I am battle tested. You get told no so many times, you get rejected so many times that it starts not to have the same effect on you. And like you say, like people say, you build up a callus. So you build up a callus, meaning people know what callous mean, like a resistance to your ability to feel pain or a hardening. You get what I'm saying? So that rejection don't hit the same no more.
It don't hit the same.
You don't even take it personally no more.
Cause
You just keep moving.
yeah, cause you gotta detach. Like when I was really in the wilderness, in sales, doing my thing, like I had to learn how to detach. I had to detach from the no, from people's reaction. I had to detach from money. Cause it's like when you in sales, it's strictly performance, or it's, even if you get paid base salary, but you are watched by your performance, man. You gotta perform. If not,
It's performative. You like an athlete.
yeah, if not, you gonna lose your job or you ain't gonna eat. But the whole time is the formula for detachment is at, accept, align, and allow, bro. It's just like when you follow those A's right there, it's like you act it, you align yourself on what you're willing to do and what you're willing to put up with and go through to get to where you want to get to. Except that the things that you can't control is really the controllable, which is you. And then when you just allow, man, you're gonna be a whole different person. Like detaching from like yourself from everything. Cause bro, I realized that money was always like my God, bro, for some reason. But I had said, man, I gotta detach myself cause money can't do nothing without me. We been programmed to make money, but we never been programmed to create money. And that's what sales taught me. You create money. You create money by writing your way, by like connecting to people, by adding value, by educating people properly on what you're trying to offer them that you think that they need. Like you got to create money, and
Right.
and then that creating piece is really gonna show you on who you is and how powerful you is just based on your thought process and your words and your policies or product, what like just whatever you offering, you know the power of it. But how can you know the power of it if you're not even like applying power to it?
Yeah. And then the main thing I think will end this off perfectly was the communication piece.
Right.
So sales help you develop your confidence, your discipline, your resilience, and most importantly, your communication. Because we don't got a lot of time to dive into this, but your ability to show up after you build those layers of things and a certainty and a self assurance you have, when you convey certain topics and concepts to people, one, a part of how you show up is going to dictate their ability to trust and believe what you say, but your conviction and confidence in what you present and how you communicate it is what is going to allow that transaction or that connection to take place. And that's typically what makes you successful as a salesman, because one, that person is buying you because of the discipline and how you showed up and how competent and how you can break down that concept to them and make it seem as if it's valuable to whatever they have going on.
Yeah, and then the most crazy piece is that sales, not sales, but words paint the picture. It always paint the picture. Words are everywhere. Words are in you. When you go on social media, like it's words. When you read books, like because it's words. When you write, like it's words. So once you start to really educate, really like start diving into certain things, you start saying words that you didn't know that you had in your dictionary, because you know that all I got to do is say the right words to paint the picture. But how can you paint the picture if you're not willing to communicate on what you're willing and trying to allow them to see in their mental crop brain? Because sometimes like the communication piece is like, it showed me that some people are constantly in survival mode. But when you say the right words to make them feel at ease, they'll let down and say, you know what, I see the picture that you're trying to paint me.